And there's still, as you and I have discussed this entire time, so many questions that remain unanswered. But the gag order was lifted mid-July. Do you predict or think that we're going to find out anything? Any of these questions will be answered from that?
I think we'll begin to get a steady drip, drip, drip of answers, but will they be the actual truth? I mean, we're going to get people who say they're close to Kohberger beginning some theories. I think Kohberger along the way will share some things. He might be playing with people. He might want to give twisted versions of all this. But I think perhaps his family members will talk at one point. There was talk that his sister was writing a book. We'll see if this happens.
And this case not only horrified a small college town, but really an entire nation. And you spent a lot of time investigating and learning the lives of the four victims: Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Maddie Mogen. So we spent a lot of time talking about Bryan Kohberger, but I want to focus on these victims. How do you think we should remember them and not just the early morning hours of November 13th?
Well, you raise a very important point. I subtitled my book A Requiem for the Idaho Student Murders, and I wanted the book in many ways to be a loving remembrance of the lives they led and the lives they could have led if they hadn't been extinguished so brutally and so early. I mean, these were kids full of potential. These were young, bright, energetic young people that any parent would be proud of. I think of Xana particularly on her high school graduation. She had on a mortarboard written underneath it, "For the lives I will change." And think about that. For the lives I will change. And now she will never get any opportunity to change those lives. And instead, her life has been cut short. And all we have are memories of these young people. And I talk in the book about their friendships, their ambitions, and all that has just been cut so tragically short. It's very disheartening, dispiriting.
And I mean, Kaylee and Maddie had that sisterhood. Xana and Ethan were just such a young, loving couple based on your reporting, based on what their families have said. They had so much promise ahead of them. And I mean, the whole story is just so tragic. But When the Night Comes Falling, a Requiem for the Idaho Student Murders, is a New York Times bestseller. You just published a paperback version, and that has a new afterword in it. So, where can people find the book?
The book is at Amazon, local bookstores, hopefully everywhere. The sales have been very gratifying.
And Howard, what specifically are you looking out for next? We have the sentencing hearing in 2 days now for Bryan Kohberger. What specifically are you looking out for then?
Well, the sentencing hearing should be very dramatic. The parents are finally going to be able to speak. I do know that some of the parents have been struggling to get the facts. Steve Gonsalves, for example, wants to know, is trying to find out how many times was his daughter stabbed. According to some sources, it was as many as 54 times. He wants to look Kohberger in the eye and say this. And I don't know how anyone could find the strength to do that, but we will see. The woman of high drama. But what's also interesting to me is Judge Hippler has the authority, the legal authority, and perhaps the moral authority to ask Kohberger for some answers. Kohberger can answer very tersely, just the way he did at the at the plea hearing. But Hippler could also say, "I'm sorry, that's not sufficient. I want more." And will he do this? I don't think so, but it certainly would be a triumph for justice if Hippler demanded larger answers.